ציפורים נודדות, ילדים בחופשה, ישחקו תופסת בין הבית לבין השדות. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. ענבים אדומים יבשילו עד הערב ויוגשו צוננים לשולחן, ורוחות רדומים ייסעו אליהם הדרך, עיתונים ישנים בענן. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael 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 Chai. Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael 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 Chai. Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Ma tovu, ma tovu, ma tovu alecha Yaakov. Mishkemotecha Yisrael, Mishkemotecha Yisrael. Ani tofestecha, ahave beitecha, eshtachave, eshtachave, elecha kodshecha, be'yiratecha, elecha kodshecha, be'yiratecha.
Delighted to welcome everybody into our sanctuary this morning, and also to feel ourselves covered by the embrace of community. We even have a chuppah up in the middle to be able to celebrate with our honorees and to cover them. But for all of us right now, let us cover our shoulders with our talitot.
And this is going to be a
virtual or
real
physical.
challenge, because every time you hear the word Baruch or any derivative thereof, you have to wave your flag. So I'm not quite sure how we're going to manage this with the waving while putting the talis on. It will be an interesting one.
We'll manage. We can do it. Here we go.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehitatef b'tzitzit.
And if you were standing, you might like to sit. Nachon libi Elohim, nachon libi, asher ra v'azamera, ura chavodi, ura haneva v'chinor, ha'ira shacha, odecha v'amim Adonai, azamerecha bal umim. Ki gadol ad hashamayim chasdecha, v'ad shachakim amitecha.
This reading is by Alden Soloway. Again, it's not in your prayer books if you're following in the prayer book, but just enjoy it and listen. Let Torah hold your moments, carry your days, lift your years. Let Torah fill your hands, nourish your breath, refresh your heart. Let Torah sustain your words, enliven your deeds, lead you home. For Torah is in each life and each generation, in the yearning for God and in God's yearning for us. The flow of secrets from Sinai, divine guidance and grace, calling out to you, dear sisters and brothers, awake you slumberers, awake you who wander empty and lonely without wonder and awe. Have you forgotten this precious gift? Have you forsaken your past and your future? Have you traded your birthright for empty promises? This then is God's command. Let Torah hold you, fill you, sustain you. Let Torah guide you into radiance and mystery. Study and learn, question and seek, hear and grow, lifting your life in sacred service. Let Torah be your breath and your heartbeat. Blessed are you, source of Torah.
Please rise.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Praise be the one to whom our praise is due. We praise the Eternal One, to whom our praise is due forever.
Please be seated. And we continue together on page 456. We praise you, eternal one, our God, sovereign of the universe, maker of light and creator of darkness, author of peace and creator of all things. In your mercy you give light to the earth and all who live on it. And in your goodness you renew creation continually, day by day. How manifold are your works, O God! With wisdom have you made them all. The world is full of your creations. Your handiwork proclaims your praise. The radiant stars bear witness to your glory. We praise you, O God, creator of light.
Ahava rabba ahavtanu Adonai Eloheinu. Chemla gedola v'terach hamalta aleinu. Avinu malkeinu ba'avur avotenu shabatachu v'cha. V'telamdem chukei chaim. Ken techonenu u'telamdenu. V'ten belibenu lahavin u'lahaskil. Lishmoa lilmod u'lalamed. Lishmoa v'la'asot u'lekayem et kol divrei toratecha ba'ahava. V'ha'er enenu b'toratecha. V'dabek libenu b'mitzvotecha. V'yached levavenu le'achava u'lira et shemecha. Kivanu v'rachata liyachedecha ba'ahava. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher ba'amo Yisrael ba'ahava.
Please rise.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Va'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha.
והיו הדברים האלה, אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Please be seated.
למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני, אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני, אדוני אלוהיכם.
Good and beautiful and true, sound established and enduring are these words now and forever. The everlasting God is our sovereign. The rock of Jacob is the shield of our salvation. Eternal God, you redeemed us from Egypt and freed us from the house of bondage. Then with great joy, Moses, Miriam, and all Israel together sang to you this song.
מי כמוך בלב אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא.
שירה חדשה שבחו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים. יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו.
אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל. גואלנו אדוני, צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני, גואל ישראל, גואל ישראל, ישראל.
Please rise. Adonai sefatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehillatcha. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu. Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov. Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah. Ha'el hagadol hagibor v'hanora, El Elyon. Gomel chasadim tovim v'koneh hakol. V'zocher chasdei avot ve'imachot. ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. את גיבורה לעולם שדי, מחיה מתים את רבה להושיע. משיבה הרוח ומורידה הגשם, מזריחה השמש ומורידה הטל.
מחלקת חיים וחסד, מחיה מתים ברחמים רבים. סומכת נופלים ומתירה אסורים ומקיימת אמונתה לשני עפר. מי כמוה בעלת גבורות ומי דומה לך.
להחיות מתים, ברוכה את שדי, מחיה המתים. We revere and sanctify you, even as in the prophet's vision the seraphim sanctified you in the temple. As it is written, they called to one another and proclaimed.
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzebaot, melech kol haaretz kavodo, melech kol haaretz kavodo.
Eternal One, our God, how glorious is your name in all the earth.
Baruch
Kavod Adonai Limkomo, Baruch Kavod Adonai Limkomo.
From your concealment, turn to us in mercy. Be gracious to the people who call you one, who continually, twice each day, proclaim with love.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
You are the one God, our loving Creator, our Sovereign and our Redeemer, and in mercy you will once again enable us and all who live to hear.
Ani Adonai Elohechem, Ani Adonai Elohechem.
And with the psalmists we declare,
Yimloch Adonai leolam, Elohai Tzion, ledor vador, Alleluia. Ledor vador, Alleluia.
Ledor vador, Lord, from generation to generation, we will make known your greatness. To the end of time, we will proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O our God, shall never depart from our lips. We praise you, Eternal One, the Holy God.
Please be seated. And we're on page 463, page 463. And please join with us. You have given us a special task among the peoples.
In your love and favor, you have sanctified us by your commandments, drawn us near to your service, and charged us to make known your great and holy name. In your love, Eternal One, our God, you have given us feasts of joy and seasons of gladness. Among them this festival of Shmini Atzeret, Simchat Torah, season of our gladness, to unite us in worship and in remembrance of the Exodus from Egypt.
Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu, Ya'aleh v'yavo v'yizachem zichronenu, v'zichron kol amacha beit Yisrael lefanecha, l'tova v'livracha, l'chaim u'l'shalom, b'yom chag hashmini chag ha'atzeret hazeh.
Zochreinu Adonai Eloheinu bo letova.
Amen.
Ufogdeinu vo livracha.
Amen.
V'hoshienu vo lechaim.
Amen. Grant,
Eternal God, that our observance of the festivals may bring us blessing, happiness, and joy. Sanctify us by your commandments and make us loyal to your teaching. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts that we may serve you in truth. And grant, Eternal God, that the happiness of the festivals may be with us always. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh Yisrael v'hazmanim.
Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu ba'amacha Yisrael, u'tefilatam b'ahavat kabel, u'tchil ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha.
Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadecha, b'yira na'avod. Modim anachnu lach, she'ata hu Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu, le'olam va'ed. Tzor chayenu magen ishenu, אתה הוא לדור ודור, נודה לך ונספר תהילתך, על חיינו המסורים בידיך, ועל נשמותינו הפקודות לך, ועל ניסיך שבכל יום עמנו, ועל נפלותיך וטובותיך, שבכל עת ערב ובוקר וצהריים. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך, ולך נאה להודות. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, ברכנו בברכה המשולשת הכתובה בתורה.
יברכך אדוני וישמרך.
כן יהי רצון.
יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונקה.
כן יהי רצון.
יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך שלום.
אמן. כן יהי רצון.
שים שלום, שים שלום, שים שלום, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך. שים שלום, שים שלום.
Grant peace, welfare, and blessing, grace, love, and mercy to us and to all Israel, your people.
As a loving parent, bless us with the light of your presence. For by the light of your presence, eternal God, you have revealed to us the law of life, a love of kindness and righteousness, blessing and mercy, life and peace. For it is good in your sight that your people Israel and all peoples be blessed at all times with your gift of peace. We praise you, O God, the source of peace. We'll take a few moments for silence.
is our tradition in the synagogue that after Simchat Torah, we give up our etrogim. And in the last few years, Bernard Goldstein, a relation, an uncle, has taken the etrogim and infused either gin or vodka, and with the aim that at Pesach we would be able to share the etrog-infused alcohol to that special time.
He tried marmalade one year too, but I think we all concluded it wasn't that great.
It wasn't so good on matzah, was it? Much better to go with the alcohol thing, I think. That is, unless this rabbi, drops a bottle, which he did at 1 year as well, so we were short on Pesach. Bernard Goldstein is an amazing infuser of gin and vodka, but he need not be the only one. So if others in the community are desperate to get their hands on our etrogim, and I must say, these really were A grade this year. Absolutely top-notch.
They smell fantastic.
Amazing. We'll pass them around in a minute. Then please do let us know, clergy@arksynagogue.org. Maybe there's a little microbrewery, or I don't know what, just gin distillery or something like that locally that would love to get their hands on that etrogim and see what they can do. I think there's a special market in there somewhere. Anyway, we do need to say some brachot, some blessings. Some brachot, there we go, some blessings, before we wave a lulav and sing the songs of the Hallel as well. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat lulav, and Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu likro et ha'Hallel.
Hallelujah, et Adonai, kol goyim, shabachuhu kol haomim, 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 ki gava aleinu hasto gava.
Page 474. Praise God, all you nations. Extol the Eternal One, all you peoples. For great is God's love towards us, and God's faithfulness endures forever. Hallelujah.
Dave Simmons. It's always good to have great feedback and different ways for Kaizen, for continual improvement. Because in my distress, I cried out to God.
Who answered me and set me free.
God is with me, I'm not afraid.
What can mere mortals do to me?
With God as my helper,
I can face any foe.
It is better to take refuge in God than to rely on human beings.
It is better to take refuge in God than to rely on those in power.
God is my strength and my shield.
And has become my salvation.
Here, Glad songs of triumph in the tents of the righteous.
The Eternal One does mighty deeds.
God's power is supreme.
The Eternal One does mighty deeds.
I shall not die but live.
To tell of God's deeds.
Open for me the gates of righteousness.
Let me enter them and give thanks to God.
This is the gate of the Eternal One.
The righteous shall enter it. Ve'odeka Elohai aromameka.
I've got a mosh-pitting kind of lulav this year, I think. It's gone all very punk at the top, that's for sure.
You did too much shaking, I think.
Yeah.
I know you just lost your little ruppy thing.
I know, but do you know what? I think it looks really good like that. A bit scatty, but we like it like that. Probably not kosher.
We've kind of distributed a little bit of foliage. It's definitely time for Sukkot to end, I think.
We've just sprinkled
Sprinkled.
Happy are those whose way is sure, who walk in the light of Torah. Happy those who follow your teachings, O God, who seek you with a whole heart. Your word is a lamp for our feet, a light for our path. Torah is our joy. Happy the people on whom such blessing falls. Happy the people whose God is the Eternal One, who does not have his guitar.
I was just thinking how you
Shalom, shalom.
It is a tree.
Shalom, shalom.
It's not a bush.
Shalom, shalom.
The tree of life.
Shalom, shalom.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu,
happy, how fortunate, how privileged you are, O Israel, commissioned to serve God, inheritors of the Torah.
נספור ציפורים נודדות, ילדים בחופשה ישחקו תופסת בין הבית לבין השדות. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. ענבים אדומים יבשילו על הערב ויוגשו צוננים לשולחן, ורוחות רדומים ייסעו אליהם הדרך, עיתונים ישנים בענן. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. Yisrael chai, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael chai, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael chai, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael chai. Od Avinu chai, Od Avinu chai, Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu chai, Od Avinu chai, Od Avinu chai, Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael chai, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael chai, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael chai, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael chai. Od Avinu chai, Od Avinu chai, Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu chai, Od Avinu chai, Od Avinu chai, Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael chai, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael chai, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael chai, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael chai. Od Avinu chai, Od Avinu chai.
be seated. We're delighted to welcome our honorees this morning into our sanctuary, some here in person and some virtually, because they are busy with other things going on in their lives. And this morning it is the Masters girls who are busy having to carry on with both their education and their teaching. First of all, we encounter Sophie Masters. Sophie, having come all the way through our Cheder system, is engaged once more with her sister Anna in teaching our Kabbalat Torah class. She has been a true inspiration for many of our young people of the last couple of years. We're also deeply proud of the work that she has done in spare time as a carer, working while she is also studying at St. Mary's University. We wish her all the best in her final year of studies, and also look forward to experiencing her many more times in our community.
Baruch et Adonai Hamavorach. Baruch Adonai Hamavorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher bacha banu mikol ha'amin, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Amen. If we were to try and find a perfect Jew, many would think of Moses maybe. Well, I think he was an Israelite, not a Jew. But and others might think, well, maybe Rabbi Hillel, Rabbi Kiva, maybe even within liberal Judaism, the 3 M's. Well, we have our own M in our synagogue, Robin Moss. Robin pretty much is the epitome of a perfect liberal Jew. In everything that he has done through this synagogue, through LJY Netzer and through liberal Judaism, being a trustee for a good number of years. But not just within liberal Judaism, within the wider Jewish world as well, in a very serious role within the UJIA for many years. Robin built his reputation as what I think, and I am biased, but I think it's true, is the leading educator on Israel within the UK at least. We've got lots of applause going on within the sanctuary here as well. But quite rightly, Robin then decided that having conquered that nugget, he was going to take a little bit of time out. And I have to say that I have great admiration for Robin and his self-confidence, but also his desire to help people wider than within the Jewish community as well. And so he's taken up a role as the chief executive of Unitas, a purpose-built youth zone which works with hundreds of young people in the Barnet area. Last night he was showing me on his app that even whilst we were in our services, because you can do that in these days, so many young people coming and using the premises, finding a place of sanctuary, just as we hope that Robin has found sanctuary within this synagogue, within his Judaism, and will do for many, many years to come.
Vaya'al Moshe me'arvot Moav el har Nevo Rosh hapiska asher al pnei Yericho v'Yericho Adonai et kol haaretz et hagilead ad Dan ve'et kol Naphtali ve'et eretz Ephraim u'Menashe ve'et kol eretz Yehuda ad hayam ha'acharon ve'et haNegev ve'et hakika bikat Yericho ir hatamarim ad Zoar. Vayomer Adonai elav, zot haaretz asher nishbarti, la Avraham, leYitzhak uleYaakov, lemor, lizaracha et nena, haritacha venecha, ushama lo ta'avo. Vayamat sham Moshe, eved Adonai, be'eretz Moav, al pi Adonai. Vayikbo oto, vagai, be'eretz Moav, mul bet peor, v'lo yada ish et kaburato ad hayom hazer. Moshe ben me'av esrim shana b'moto lo kachato eno. V'lo nas lachacho. Vayivku b'nei Yisrael et Moshe be'arvot Moav 30 yom v'yitma'u Adonai v'hi evel Moshe. V'Yehoshua bin Nun Maleh Ruach Chochma ki samach Moshe et yadav alav, vayisma'u elav, b'nei Yisrael, vaya'asu kasher tziva Adonai et Moshe. V'lo kam navi od b'Yisrael k'Moshe, asher yado Adonai panim el panim. L'chol ha'otot hamoftim asher shlicho Adonai la'asot be'eretz Mitzrayim, l'paro u'l'chol avdav u'l'chol artso u'l'chol hayad ha'chazaka u'l'chol hamorah hagadol asher asa Moshe le'nei kol Yisrael. Which means, Moses went up from the steppes of Moab to Mount Nebo, to the summit of Pisgah, opposite Jericho, and the Eternal showed him the whole land, Gilead as far as Dan, all Naphtali, the land of Ephraim and Manasseh, the whole land of Judah as far as the western sea, the Negev and the plain, the valley of Jericho, the city of palm trees, as far as Zoar. And the Eternal said to him, "This is the land of which I swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I will assign it to your offspring. I have let you see it with your own eyes, but you shall not cross there." So Moses, the servant of the Eternal, died there in the land of Moab at the command of the Eternal. God buried him in the valley in the land of Moab near Bet Peor, and no one knows his burial place to this day. Moses was 120 years old when he died. His eyes were undimmed and his vigor unabated. And the Israelites bewailed Moses in the steppes of Moab for 30 days. The period of wailing and mourning for Moses came to an end. Now Joshua, son of Nun, was filled with the spirit of wisdom because Moses had laid his hands upon him, and the Israelites heeded him, doing as the Eternal had commanded Moses. Never again did there arise in Israel a prophet like Moses, whom the Eternal singled out face to face, for the various signs and portents that the Eternal sent him to display in the land of Egypt against Pharaoh and all his courtiers and his whole country, and for all the great might and awesome power that Moses displayed before all Israel.
Shikoyach. Mazel tov.
Thank you.
And would you please rise?
Please be seated. And, Rabbi Leah says, I'll take responsibility for the Colin scroll, but I didn't compute that meant I had responsibility for the new scroll, for which we have two wonderful readers. Nelly, if you want to come and take your place, please do. Here's your yod. I'm really honoured, as is Rabbi Leah and the board and all of the community, this year to honour two wonderful members of our community. They have been part of our community for as long as most of us can remember. Nelly was born in Poland to a family observing Jewish home traditions, though not really Orthodox. She recalls a special Shabbat atmosphere, the excitement of Passover preparations, seeing her father in prayer covered by an ornate prayer shawl, and her mother lighting Erev Shabbat candles. Thanks to her mother and others, Nelly survived the Shoah, as did her older sister, but their father was murdered in Janowska prison in Lwów. Did I pronounce that right? Today we call it Lviv in Ukraine, and actually that city is now, or the congregation in that city, is our twin community in the town of Lviv. And we go back to that town, and having heard that your father was murdered there, along with so many others, it will take on more poignancy each time we return and recite Kaddish at that moment. We hope that perhaps it might be next year, and then each year going forward into the future. After the war ended, Nelly followed her passion, entering a high school for young musicians. Nelly studied at the Jerusalem Academy of Music and began her performing career as a pianist. A teacher also introduced her to the Alexander technique, taking her to England in 1960, where she met Roger, her non-Jewish husband, in 1966. It was Roger who introduced Nellie to our fledgling Jewish group, holding services in a disused chapel in Northwood. Nellie has been a regular ever since, has spoken many times of her Shoah experiences and more, of her life, a very deep and very full life that we are honored to have shared much of with her. Nellie says, "I am deeply moved to be honored by 2 generations of rabbis," and she dedicates this special occasion to the memory of her parents.
בראשית ברא אלוהים את השמיים ואת הארץ. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. והארץ הייתה תוהו ובוהו, וחושך על פני תהום, ורוח אלוהים מרחפת על פני המים. And the land was chaos and void, and darkness was on the face of the abyss. And God's Spirit hovered over the face of the waters. ויאמר אלוהים, יהי אור, ויהי אור. וירא אלוהים את האור כי טוב. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. And God saw that the light was good. ויבדל אלוהים בין האור ובין החושך. And God differentiated between the light and the darkness. ויקרא אלוהים לאור יום ולחושך קרא לילה. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. ויהי ערב ויהי בוקר יום אחד. And there was evening and there was morning, day one. ויאמר אלוהים, יהי רקיע בתוך המים, ויהי מבדיל בין מים למים. And God said, let there be a firmament within the waters, and let it differentiate between waters and waters. ויעש אלוהים את הרקיע, ויבדל בין המים אשר מתחת לרקיע, ובין המים אשר מעל לרקיע. And God made the firmament and differentiated between the waters which were under the firmament and the waters which were above the firmament. ויהי כן, and it was thus. ויקרא אלוהים לרקיע שמיים, and God called the firmament heaven. ויהי ערב ויהי בוקר יום שני. And there was evening and there was morning, the second day. Thank you.
Delighted to welcome Walter Weg. Walter was born in Leipzig, Germany in November 1928. His family had been German for several generations. His father, together with his 2 brothers, ran a book publishing business. He and his 2 younger sisters went to a Jewish kindergarten, organized by a circle of Jewish friends. Many of you will have seen and heard Walter speaking last Yom HaShoah, and if you haven't, maybe you'll go to our YouTube channel, just search for the Ark Synagogue and for Yom HaShoah. Walter related his experiences of discriminatory Nazi policies, of Kristallnacht, and of the escape of his family to England. His uncle's family were not so fortunate and were murdered in Auschwitz. Walter has spoken as a Holocaust survivor for many years. Walter and his wife, Sylvia, who sadly died recently, joined the Ark Synagogue, or NPLS, Northwood and Pinner Liberal Synagogue, as it was known then, in 1973. Their children, Jonathan and Rowena, who are here with Walter this morning, came through our Cheder, in which Walter taught Hebrew, including at least one rabbi, this one. Walter and Sylvia were ever present at interfaith and social justice events and Friday night services, and along with Nellie, have provided a force which has been so powerful over this past 18 months, one which has kept so many of our members feeling good about being part of this special community, being in relationship with special people, and honouring humanity that Walter and Sylvia always exemplified.
Thank you, Rabbi Aaron, for your kind words, and also for patiently beaming me up to join the virtual service last night at Simchat Torah. Humbled by the honor of participating in person today, I would like to dedicate this occasion to the memory of my wife, Sylvia, and of course to the mother of Jonathan and Rowena, who are with me today. Thank you. Vayomer Elohim, Yikavu Hamayim Mitachat Hashamayim El Makom Echad. V'tera'eh Hayabasha Vayehi Chen. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. Vayikra Elohim leyabasha eretz ulemikveh hamayim kara yamim. Vaya Elohim ki tov. And God called the dry land earth, and the waters and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good. Vayomer Elohim, Tachei haaretz, Deshe esef mazria, Zera oz, Eitz peri, Ose peri lemino, Asher zarovu va'o, al haaretz, Vayehi chen. And God said, and God said, let the earth bring forth grass, herb yielding seed, fruit tree bearing fruit after its kind, and wherein is the seed thereof upon the earth. And it was so. ותצא הארץ דשא עזב מזריע זרע למינו, ועץ עושה פרי אשר זרעו למינו, וירא אלוהים כי טוב. And the earth brought forth grass, herb yielding seed after its kind, and fruit tree bearing fruit, wherein is the seed thereof, after its kind. And God saw that it was good. Vayehi erev, vayehi voker, yom shlishi. And it was evening, and it was morning, a third day.
Shikoyach. Shikoyach, Walter.
Thank you.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'hayei olam neta b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. There we go. And if you would please rise.
Baruch Shenatan Torah le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato.
Please be seated.
We invite you all to join us for reciting the blessing for our Haftarah. All of our honorees together with their families here in the sanctuary, and all of those who make up this beautiful community all around the world. It's so wonderful that we're able to celebrate all together. As we say the blessing for our Haftarah reading, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim, v'ratza v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher b'Torah, uv'Moshe avdo, uv'Yisrael amo, uv'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek.
After the death of Moses, the servant of the Eternal One said to Joshua, the son of Nun's attendant, "My servant Moses is dead. Prepare to cross the Jordan, together with all this people, into the land that I am giving to the Israelites. Every spot on which your foot treads, I give you, as I promised to Moses. Your territory shall extend from the wilderness and the Lebanon to the great river, the river Euphrates on the east, and the whole Hittite country, and up to the Mediterranean on the west. No one shall be able to resist you as long as you live. As I was with Moses, so shall I be with you. I will not fail or forsake you. Be strong and resolute, for you shall apportion to the people the land that I swore to their ancestors to assign to them. But you must be very strong and resolute to observe faithfully all the teachings that my servant Moses enjoined upon you. Do not deviate from the right or do the left, that you may be successful wherever you go. Let not this book of teaching cease from your lips, but recite it all day and night, so that you may observe faithfully all that is written in it. Only then will you prosper in your undertaking, and only then will you be successful. I charge you, be strong and resolute. Do not be terrified or dismayed, for the Eternal One, your God, is with you wherever you go." Joshua thereupon gave orders to the officials of the people, "Go through the camp and charge the people thus, get provisions ready, for in 3 days' time you are to cross the Jordan in order to enter and possess the land the Eternal God is given to you as a possession." They answered Joshua, "We will do everything you have commanded us, and we will go wherever you send us. We will obey you, as we have obeyed Moses. But let the Eternal One, your God, be with you, as the Eternal was with Moses.
And the blessing afterwards all together. Al
התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום חג השמיני חג העצרת הזה שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו לששון ולשמחה לכבוד ולתפארת על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש ישראל והזמנים.
And just to say, we were slightly quick on the buttons before, but our Haftarah reader was Anna Masters, the second of the Masters sisters. Anna, we think, was always on a trajectory to first be a Cheder teacher and then to go on and to teach young people, especially children with some special needs or some kind of learning disabilities. Anna worked as a teaching assistant working with such children before then going to Israel for a gap year, spending time working in the Bedouin city of Rahat teaching English. Before coming back to the UK, studying her PGCE in primary education at Brunel University. And the reason that Anna is not here this morning is she is teaching, she is taking on responsibility for a large classroom of children who need her special attention. We are seriously proud of all that she is achieving, and well, we're just well chuffed that she still wants to come and teach our Kabbalat Torah class as well each Saturday morning in her own unique and particular style.
Pirkei Avot starts with Moshe Kibel Torah Misinai, Musora leHoshua, Hoshua leZekenim. Moses received the Torah on Mount Sinai and handed it to Joshua, and Joshua to the Zekenim, to the elders. And so it goes on through the generations. And I think that we've witnessed this morning this handing on to, in such a wonderful way, L'dor Vador, how blessed we are this morning to have such readers with such a backstory to tell about our synagogue and about your lives and the lives of our people. It's all in there. It's all in there. And we are so privileged to have you this morning, from young to old. And also the magic of our technology, that Anna couldn't be with us this morning because she's teaching, but we saw her recorded from last night. And so L'dor Vador, not only is it from generation to generation, it can be from moment to moment, because all is recorded. And it has been my privilege to know you all, from young to old, and those just a little bit in between, and to offer a blessing on you. And I was trying to think, what sort of blessing could there be? And it's one that we all know. It's not really a blessing, but it's a hope, and it's a wish for you all. Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yivarech et amo b'shalom, that we pray that God will continue to give you continued strength and happiness, and that God will give you a life of shalom, a feeling of completeness and blessing. And now I'm going to do one other thing, and that is I'm going to sort of override the rabbis in a way, because I suddenly had an idea. That's something we've done in the past. Forget the gin, forget the marmalade, because many years ago, Walter Wegg used to take the etrog and take the seeds and plant them and create trees. And in this year of the Shemitah, could there be anything more perfect than us finding a way to, with Walter, with Jonathan Rowena, with anybody, to find some trees and see how many trees we can grow out of an etrog. And wouldn't it be wonderful as a way of celebrating the Shemitah year with our etrog this
We do
year.
have one or two horticulturalists who might be able to
I
help
know,
us
we
on
might.
that
I know,
one.
I was just thinking, this rabbi is not it. I don't have a green
okay, so
thumb.
let's make that
I think so.
I'm
anyway.
tempted, but I'm not hopeful
Well,
about
Walter
my
was able to do it,
chances.
so others could do it, and so
Watch this space for next year.
Absolutely.
There we go.
Thank you.
There we go. Forget the offers from distilleries. There we go. Sorry, you're scratched. But if you do fancy taking some seed and trying to grow an etrog tree, or at least the beginning of one, then please let us know. Still, it's the same email address: clergy@arksynagogue.org. Yahalalu et Shem Adonai, ki niskav shemo levado. If you're not already standing, please do, as we say goodbye to our Torah scrolls for this Simchat Torah. Eitz chaim chi lemachazikim bavatomech me'osha. Eitz chaim chi lemachazikim bavatomech me'osha. Shalom, shalom.
It is a tree.
Shalom, shalom.
It's not a bush.
Shalom, shalom.
The tree of life.
Shalom, shalom. It is a tree of life to them that hold fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. It is a tree of life to them that hold fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. Shalom, shalom.
It is a tree.
Shalom, shalom.
It's not a bush.
Shalom, shalom.
The tree of life.
Shalom, shalom. And we remain standing as we conclude these services with Aleinu on page 520, or at least the first words are there.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, אשר שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגורלנו להמליך מלכותו.
On this day, let us dedicate ourselves anew to the task that our ancestors tried in all their higher moments to fulfill, to bring nearer a time when all your children will understand that they are sisters and brothers, so that one in spirit and fellowship, they may be forever united before you. Then shall your sovereignty be established on earth, and the word of your prophet shall be fulfilled. Adonai, Melech Adonai, Malach Adonai, Yimloch le'olam va'ed.
We remember those who died in recent days, and those who died at this time of the year in years gone by. Zecher tzadikim livracha. May all that was dear and good in their lives endure always as a blessing and as a continual influence for good, as we recite together on page 524. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabba, be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, בחיי אחון וביום אחון וחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. יתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי דקדושה ברכו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה. דמירן בלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל בני אדם, ואמרו אמן.
Please be seated. And it's so wonderful to know that Anna is able to be with us on her lunch break. Chag Sameach to you, and Mazel Tov and Shekoyach to you, Anna, and to your sister, Sophie, as well.
We are going to conclude together with a song that's not in your prayer book, but you only need really 4 words. Torah tziva lanu Moshe. So everyone is going to manage that as well. If you are watching with us and joining us online, then do come and join our Kiddush Zoom room so that we can do Kiddush together and see you also in the sanctuary. But before we turn to Kiddush, we shall sing together.
Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Torah.
Amazing. What an incredible choir we've had this morning. What an incredible congregation, a wonderful Simchat Torah and festive season. And as we hope that we entered it peacefully, we hope that we will leave this season in peace as well. Adonai yishmor tzeitecha uvoecha me'ata ve'ad olam. May the Eternal One guard your going out and your coming in, now and always. As we begin a new cycle of our Jewish year, may we do so in peace and with strength, individually and as a community.
Adonai oseh amo yiten, Adonai yevarech et amo b'shalom.
Chag Sameach, Moadim L'Simcha, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, and Mazel Tov.
Absolutely, Mazel Tov. And we're going to do our Kiddush together. We can see those in the sanctuary can see those on Zoom. You can't see them wave at you, but they will wave at you in just a moment. They're all waving and they can see you wave at them. So do feel free to come into our Kiddush Zoom room to join us there and come for a little chat. And Rabbi Aaron will begin our Kiddush.
Eile Moadei Adonai Mikrai Kodesh Asher Tikra'u Otam B'Modam. Moses announced the appointed seasons of the Eternal One to the people of Israel. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. L'chaim.
L'chaim. And we say together over our challah, and if you have your own challah at home, we hope you'll enjoy that. And we say together, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Chag Sameach, Moadim L'Simcha, Chagim Uzmanim L'Sason, and we wish you all a wonderful Chag.
Eivenu Shah.